seemed like Carlos lost his temper, like he went crazy at that time.
From student to suspected serial killer, 21-year-old Carlos Dominguez, once described as a compassionate musician with big dreams of becoming a doctor, now charged with murder. Tonight we're hearing from his friends who say they saw Dominguez change right before their eyes. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Tony Lopez.
And I'm Marley Ginter. CBS 13's Madisen Keavy joining us live now from Davis with the conversation you'll hear only on CBS 13. Madisen.
Those two former friends tell me that it was Dominguez's temper that drove them apart. They said he had anger issues, but enough for them to consider him a killer before this. My conversation only on CBS 13.
I saw him kind of spiraling during summer, but we didn't think much of it, and we wouldn't expect like this whole thing to happen.
There were a lot of aspects of him where I didn't know if it was like the real him.
Two of Carlos Dominguez's former friends shared their stories with me. One of them, his former roommate.
We would do things like play basketball, talk really late at night, and play video games together. Typical things that a house full of guys would do.
They don't want to be identified because they're still shocked by what their once social friend is accused of. Dominguez is in this photo alongside their group of friends back in 2021.
He would FaceTime or video call his siblings every day, and his parents, I knew that he would text regularly.
There was a change in Dominguez last year, but they chalked it up to stress. Dominguez was a biological sciences student at UC Davis before he flunked out 2 weeks ago.
We knew he was failing his classes, and he was going to switch to psychology. That summer, one time when we came home, we noticed that there was a hole in the door. It seemed like Carlos lost his temper, like he went crazy at that time.
The image of their former friend in custody, long hair in his face, unfamiliar to them. Unlike a photo from Dominguez's birthday 2 years ago, where his face is covered in cake and a smile. His former roommate shocked, but able to see what could have brought him here.
For me, I think I want to have that conception because I didn't want to acknowledge that this was something that was slowly building over him and was a part of him as I knew him. But in reality, it makes more sense to realize that this is something that he had been struggling with enough to punch a hole his door that he shared with somebody else.
Now, those two former friends tell me they've tried to stop themselves from thinking about the what ifs or trying to think about even a motive, because they say ultimately, as much as they know of him, even as far as living with him at a time, they say the only person that can answer these types of questions is Carlos Dominguez himself.